In a way, climate is always looked at as a tragedy. It was brilliant for us to have Marcus Brigstock. He's a quite famous comedian in England. And he said, well, wait a minute, the human condition, let's just turn this into a comedy. And what he does is absolutely brilliant stand-up comedian thing about, climate change that goes on for about half an hour. And you suddenly, the irony and the position of us, and, just sort of saying, well, wait a minute, you have to use laughter as well as kind of angst to actually deal with the problem. And it's absolutely fantastic. He was shooting that, and just minutes after that shot, a polar bear was swimming behind the boat with two babies on its back, and it was a really beautiful moment. But they're very, very dangerous in that situation. So we told Marcus, I've never seen anybody get out of the water quick. But anyway, he's been really brilliant, and turning it into comedy is great. This last expedition, we were fantastic. We took a lot of musicians with us, and it's the first time we've really engaged with music in a really great way. This is Riichi Sakamoto. I mean, he's sort of a Japanese cultural icon in many ways. Brilliant musician, Oscar winner, blah, blah, blah. We were on this beach. I've never been on such a cold beach. It was about -20, and the wind was coming off the Greenland ice cap and straight down on us. It was really mean. And there was kind of a glacier in front of us. And you're standing there, and you could hear a river. You could hear water moving, and we're kind of going, what is this? What is this? So Riichi kind of bashed this hole in the sound, and he had a hydrophone, and he dumped the hydrophone down into the water and was listening to this. And he said, that is the most pure sound I've ever heard. And the reason the river was flowing is because the glacier was moving so fast, the friction that it causes on the rocks underneath are actually turning the bottom of the glacier into water in terms of heat. So that's what we were listening to, this, sort of 20,000, 100,000-year-old glacier. This water, this river was made out of that, and creating this sound that Riichi kind of encapsulated. Now, since he's come back, he's just written his new CD, which is out in Japan. Half of it's all about his time in the Arctic. He was really, really greatly influenced. The other thing we did when we were up there, the scientists, we were looking at the geologists, and this was under the seabed, so you're firing a blaster sound down through the ocean and through the rocks on the seabed. Now, the reason they're doing this is that the Greenland ice cap in the middle is about 11,000 feet thick. And what is happening is that actually, if you look at the rock, or what this is based upon, is that the actual rock or the land mass is below sea level. So as the ice melts, the land will rise. And as the land rises, it will cause fractions in the geology around the island itself. So we're kind of making this, they were there making this kind of look and saying, well, wait a minute, what is happening to the rocks underneath the sea next to Greenland? But Riichi saw these quite beautiful drawings, and he said, well, what form is that? I mean, what's that information in? And they said, well, it's digital information. He said, well, can you give it to me as a digital stream? And he can turn that then sound, that information, that digital information directly into sound. And we'll create, a symphony that is probably, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million years old, just by taking this information. So it's that crossover again between the arts and the science, where our scientists are happily working, and then suddenly the artist kind of goes, well, wait a minute, look at this in a different light. This is my favorite photograph of all time. I'll go through the players in a minute, but we were in a lovely little island called Umanak, and it was on the 77 North, and it's tiny, isolated Greenlandic community. And we were there all day, and then somebody said, well, you're all musicians, and they would recognize some of the people in the picture, and they said, would you play for us that evening in the hotel bar? So they gallantly said yes. But what had happened is that the boat, when we tried to get into Umanak, the little harbor, is that there was an iceberg blocking the entrance to the harbor. So we had to be ferried in little kind of inflatable boats. So everybody came in, and then the musicians came in last, and we had this inflatable boat with an electric piano that Riichi's playing, and I had all of those people in the boat, all my favorite musicians in this funny little rubber boat with a piano in it, and it's snowing, and we're kind of dodging this iceberg to get into this little town. It was a really great moment. But so you've got Jarvis Cocker, you've got Robin Hitchcock, you've got Martha Wainwright, behind her is Leslie Feist, Katie Tunstall and Richie Sakamoto. And it's just, they just played, you know, Robin has never played with such a, you know, backup chorus as those three women again. It's just a very favorite moment. Of all of them, it's interesting, since they've come back, they've all written material. So Richie's written, as I said, that long that long piece on his new CD. Katie's written something called 77 North. Leslie hasn't written, you know, Martha's written a song called It Is Hard. You know, it is hard, subject to engage with. Robin's written a lovely blues number, which is, you know, Switch Your Lights Out in Chicago. And then Jarvis has come up with a brilliant title called Slush. So his new song is called Slush. It's just fantastic that, you know, so quickly that it's kind of transferred into real kind of material that it'll get out in a very, very large and wonderful kind of big, large audience. Jumping back, this is I've forgotten the name of it. Argo float. They're very sexy. The problem with the oceans are, you know, 4/5 of the planet is ocean. We really should be called Planet Ocean instead of Planet Earth. These Argo floats, you know, how do you get information about what's happening in this huge area, landmass? So what these things do is you put them in the water and they're programmed to go down to 3-4 kilometers. They stay there for 20 days, they come up, they beam the information back via satellite, and then they go down again. And then this carries on for the life of their batteries, which can be up to about 3 or 4 years. Cape Farewell has deployed the 2 most northern Argo floats in the whole program of the Argo float, and there are 6,000 now. I mean, there's 2,000 of them actually in the oceans right now. And if you go onto our website, you can actually get real information that they're beaming back every 3 or 4 days. Now, where we put this one was just off this village of Omanak, just out to the oceans. Now, normally every winter, this ocean would freeze solid. But Simon, the oceanographer, gambled that this wouldn't happen this year. Because if it freezes solid, the Argo float would get trapped in the ice and stop working. So we put it in, and, you know, okay, lo and behold, yeah, we're nearly through the winter right now, and it still hasn't frozen. I mean, it is quite extraordinary. But the knock-on effect to the village of Umanak has about 1,000 people, but it also has 3,000 dogs. And the only way you can go hunting for these hunters to carry on their existence is when it freezes over in the winter, then they just drive their dogs to the land and up in the mountains and hunt. Now, so far, you know, there is no way that any of those dogs can get off the island because it actually hasn't frozen, those seas haven't frozen. So the whole way of life of these people who live there is just going to be changed. And the 3,000 dogs, you know, there's no real need for them to be there because so they won't last. You know, so although, you know, it's again a direct link from the science directly through to the kind of lives of people who are living there. Katie, I don't know. I mean, all of the musicians that were there were fantastic. Katie's absolutely, really good. She's joined the board of Cape Farewell. She's somebody we really work with very closely, and she's got a huge audience. And this is a tiny little bit of film of what she's sort of up there.
It's a fantastic creative source in this environment. The thing that's been really good for me, I think, is that I have acknowledged that the criticism that gets leveled at you that you're becoming an eco-bore, that, you know, I just shut up and play, you know, the get off your high horse and, you know, you're just a singer, what do you know, all that kind of criticism I am going to go home and really be quite happy to just ignore now.
So, Kate's been great, she's involved. What we're doing now, and this is kind of an exciting, it's great we go up to the Arctic, but most of our activities happens when we're back. So in January next year, we're working with the Royal Festival Hall in England, which we have for 3 nights. So all of the musicians are going to come in and play for 3 nights, but we're going to use the whole activity of the comedians and people like Jarvis to actually animate this into a climate music festival. There's also going to be working with the fashion industry on doing a whole load of eco-fashion, which with London College of Fashion, and there's another kind of group. So it's a kind of a really hard, intense kind of shift.